welcome to Find Out Nation. I'm one of your hosts, Jaime.
I'm one of your hosts, Nicole.
And we're here to discuss what happens when a nation fucks around. They find out. I don't know why I sing that. Like,
I
I
don't know, but
really
it's fine.
just
It's very
really have
jaunty.
made that musical at the beginning. I
like
think it's
it.
because we really need like a musical presence with the
I
craziness
do.
that we have been
I
through.
like it. I do say, let me say really quickly, I just realized what a disaster is behind me. We moved the child home from college on Friday. There are things everywhere in my house. I'm so excited to have her home, but there are, and she's cleaned through a lot of stuff, but there's like things where there's not normally things. So hopefully that's
That's all
not
right.
distracting.
Hey, listen, I was gone for a week. So the 12 people that are still hopefully watching us are not missing us too, did not miss us too much last week. So apologies there, but you are correct. Our household was in Disney for a week in Orlando. So you can tell I'm redder than normal. And then I wear a red sweatshirt to accent that because it's still like sub-zero degree temperatures here in Kansas
Yes.
City, even though it's like Memorial Day weekend.
Yes.
Your
Stop
household
raining.
was moving
Yeah.
home a college graduate, a
Yes.
newly honored college graduate
Right.
who is finally done and ready to enter into the workforce. So it has been a couple of weeks for
Yes.
us. So we have
Yes.
missed quite a bit. But before we get into it,
Would you like your countdowns?
I would like my countdown.
Okay, which one do you want first?
Okay, talk to me about, let's go with how many days has it been? Are we into the Trump presidency?
126 days.
Okay, I feel like we're getting there.
Yeah,
Like,
we're
how long
getting
is
there.
a total presidency?
It's
Like
4
4
years.
years times
Yeah.
365.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
1,400 days, something.
Sure. Yeah.
Sure.
So, yes.
Yeah,
I'm going
okay.
to go with that. Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on. Yes. Sorry,
So
I'm
I
trying
feel
to
like
get
we're
my
getting
stupid
there.
calculator up. Yes.
I know.
So,
I
yeah,
love that.
like 1,460 days. Yeah.
Oh, see,
So we're
we're
getting there.
close. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. And for all of my old high school math teachers that told me I wouldn't have easy access to a calculator at all times, suck it.
Yeah.
We are
You
now. We
lied.
always do.
Just like
Exactly.
everything else. You said I was
Right.
going to need to do some of this stupid ass math. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to plug in my fan. I'm having an old lady hot flash. So, like you said, we were going to use some of this dumbass math in our daily lives. Not fucking once. Thanks, Excel, for doing it
Exactly.
for
Thanks,
me.
Excel. That's exactly correct.
Go fuck
100%.
yourself.
Okay. And then, so how many days until the midterm elections?
Midterms. This one's a little bit more brutal. 525 days.
I feel like, how has it gotten worse?
I know. Like we haven't done this in a week because of our lives, and we're still over 500 days.
Like, how it seems like it got worse.
I
I
know.
feel like it was better 2 weeks ago.
I know.
Oh.
I'm just like, I don't understand. Yes.
Oh.
I don't understand. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we got to plug away. We got to break through. We got to keep going.
Yes.
This week has been an interesting week. The big news, of course, is the horrifically named Big Beautiful Bill.
Yes.
I still cannot believe that it's called the Big Beautiful Bill. I know.
This is what we're
But
going
before we get into that, because I have done more research into what exactly, number one, has passed the House, what the bill has in it, a lot of the provisions that we had already suspected and talked through 2 weeks ago, it have in fact lived and are still in this big, beautiful bill. And I've got more information on some of the things and how they're going to affect other people. I think you've done some research as well.
Yeah.
Before we get into those, let's talk a little bit of local news.
Oh, okay.
So it is Memorial Day. We've just finished up Memorial Day weekend. Today is Monday, Memorial Day. Of course, first of all, number one, we honor the troops that have fallen. We support, obviously, our troops significantly in both your household and my household. And we certainly remember those that gave their ultimate sacrifice. So definitely a day for remembering. Trump made his own Truth Social Memorial Day post. Talk to me about what it said, because I read it and then I was like, oh, that's not presidential at all.
Not at all. So
tell me your favorite parts.
Yeah. So this was this morning at 11:45 DC time. And he starts out, and it's all in all caps. So let's bear in mind, he's screaming this.
Right. And like at this point, we can believe that he is like an elderly person that
cognitive skills
might just always be posting in all caps.
Yes. And there was something I just thought of that I wanted to say before I read this, but now I don't remember what it was, so it'll come back to me. So it says, "Happy Memorial Day to all, including the scum." that spent the last 4 years trying to destroy our country. Like, this is how you start a Memorial Day post? Okay. For
Yeah.
warped radical left minds. And so he goes on to say, like, allowed 21 million people to illegally enter our country.
Yeah.
Many of the being, oh, this is what I wanted to say. Also, bear in mind that the White House has taken down all transcripts of his speeches and his yes, ma'am, that was announced over the weekend. Now they're just posting videos, and they're curated videos because, see, when you read what he says verbatim, you realize how fucking crazy he is. And then
Yeah.
reading his twats on Truth
His
Social
twats.
are just as bad. So yes, many of the being criminals and the MENTAO, insane, through an open border that only an incompetent president would approve, through judges on a mission to keep murderers, drug dealers, rapists, blah, 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 the same old song and dance, protected by the USA hating judges. I mean, this is all one long sentence. Hopefully, the United States Supreme Court and other good and compassionate judges throughout the land will save us from the decisions of the monsters who want our country to go to hell.
Okay.
Not at any point did we say, thank you for your service. But what do we expect from a draft dodger?
That's right.
Like,
That's right. Because
nothing
he
about our
clearly,
troops.
and someone who has made fun of military in the past and,
Yes.
made fun of people that got captured,
Yes.
POWs. Like, what do we expect anything different? Like,
Yeah. Who
obviously
gave
not.
his speech at the graduation, I think at West Point over the weekend, and talked about his friend's trophy wife during
Yeah.
the commencement address. Like,
But I just, knowing that he is typing his twats in all capital letters,
yes.
just really, really reiterates this idea of he's old. Like, that's what an
Well,
old
so-
person does.
And here's my thing. Like, the Republicans couldn't wait to start screaming about invoking the 25th Amendment last February on Biden.
Yep.
Why are none of the Democrats screaming for that? I mean, it's not going to happen, but start. Like, what are we doing? And the mainstream media is not talking about it. Like, they're just, like, we're trying to norm, because he's got all of them scared with all these bullshit lawsuits. And so we're just acting like we're just not going to acknowledge the fact that an insane person is running our goddamn country. He can't even spell mentally insane properly.
Nope. Well, and I'm sorry, but do you imagine Trump writing those in the bathroom?
Oh God, I had never thought about it, but 100%. Like,
Right?
he's on
Like,
the toilet.
Like, he's got his pants,
yeah,
and he's got
totally.
his pants all the way
Yeah.
down to the floor because
like a
he's a toddler,
5-year-old.
right?
Yes,
It's not
100%.
even like up at his knees; it's all the way to the
all the way to the
floor.
floor.
And he's got he's typing
He's bent
out
over his knees.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and he's
100%.
typing out these true. So, like, just remember that true social means toilet post.
Yes,
True,
literally.
like, he should
Yes.
start calling him his true social toilet post, because there's no way someone else is reading those and approving them. Those
No.
definitely come from him.
Yes.
And like,
And
you
his tiny little
gotta know,
hands typing it out real fast.
we should do a scientific test to see if, like, is he posting at the same time every day, to see, like, how regular is his system.
Is his system? Yeah.
Right.
often
I'm just
is
saying,
McDonald's
like,
cleaning him
is
out?
11:45 is pooping time?
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know,
it would-
right
it
after
would
he's
be
had
right
maybe
after
that
lunch.
11:15 lunch, he prefers
Yeah.
his McDonald's at
So true.
11.
Yeah.
Like, maybe that's it. And then his pooping times at 11:45. I'm just saying it's a possibility.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
The man's
Unhinged. Well,
Yes.
and he is indicative of an old man who's just
ranting.
Yes, ranting, just straight vitriol on the internet. And it's clear that, like, that is his main motivation, which is really fucking depressing.
Yeah. He's your crazy peepaw that spouts off during Thanksgiving dinner, and then you just shuffle him into the living room for his after dinner nap while the rest of you fucking play Uno and try to forget he's part of your family.
Okay,
That's
peepaw.
what this is.
Yes,
literally. This is Biden walking into the fucking jungle.
Forest. Yes, the jungle. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so speaking of crazies on Memorial Day.
Yeah.
We live in Kansas City. You have a KC shirt on. I have a KC shirt on. Yep.
Yeah.
The Patriot Front showed up this weekend
on
at in our glorious city. So we do a big Memorial Day event every year. They do fireworks because we are one of the only, in fact, I think we're the
We are the only.
only
Hmm.
World War I
Yeah.
museum in the United States.
Yes.
And so it's always a big deal out in the Liberty Memorial. They do a big fireworks display, and it's really meaningful, and it's gorgeous, and it's a neat event.
Yeah.
And so yesterday there were rumors that they were actual Proud Boys, but they weren't Proud Boys.
Hmm.
They were the Patriot Front.
Front. Hmm.
There were videos of this group walking through the city
Hmm. They
with
started at Liberty
literal
Memorial.
hoods on.
Yeah, they had their masks up to their eyes that cover their ears, their ball caps, because they had their whole costume on, like their tan pants, their navy shirts, their ball caps, their sunglasses, because, and this is what I love about these neo-Nazi groups, is because they're a splinter group, right? From
Yes.
the Vanguard America. They split off from Vanguard America after Charlottesville.
Yeah.
And so I just love these white supremacist groups that want everyone to be so intimidated of them and want everyone to be so scared of them. And yet, just like the Klan, they're unwilling to show their faces. Like,
100%.
my thing is, here's the thing: Westboro Baptist, another hate group, hiding behind religion, protested my daughter's graduation.
Yes.
Here's where I can give Westboro Baptist credit. I cannot give the Patriot Front. Those motherfuckers will stand there with their full goddamn faces on display
And
They
have a
don't care.
conversation. They'll
Yeah.
hold their God
And they're-
hates you sign, but at least their fucking face is
Yep.
on
And
display.
they're hoping for a confrontation. They
That's
look
right.
for it because they're going to record it and put it on their social media.
That's right.
The Patriot Front carrying their shields and their upside down American flags. Which, what is the country like? What do they think the country's under distress for? I thought this is what they wanted.
Yep.
I don't understand why they think the country's under distress.
I don't
Their
either.
Betsy Ross flags, like all their bullshit, and yet
Right.
you're hiding your face
And
like a
and
fucking coward.
100% hiding their face, because it's like,
Yeah.
to your point,
All the
neck
yeah,
gaiters all the way up to
all the way to
here,
their eyes.
sunglasses and ball
Yep.
caps all the way down to here.
Yep.
They look like they're wearing hoods. To
They
me,
look
they
like
look like they're wearing
fucking.
goddamn hoods.
They're such clowns. Such
They really
fucking
are.
clowns. And
And what
the
is the point of
fact-
that? Do you think people see you walking through the street and say, "Huh, I never thought of it that way. I'm going to go join your group,"
Yeah.
right? Like, what are you
Yeah,
accomplishing?
they think that it's intimidating, but I think they would probably also say, "I don't want to lose my job in woke America.
Exactly.
I could lose my job." Well, yeah, you could.
Because your ideals
you
are so
stand
batshit
for-
fucking insane, and you're a member of a hate group,
Of a fucking hate group.
a
And people that
terrorist
work with you,
organization. Yes.
need to know that
Well-
you're a member of a hate group. And so you know that, and that's why I'm saying, like, they know that, which is why
Right.
they're covering their fucking faces.
Yep. 100%.
Because at the end of the day, the black folks and the women and the gays that they work with, that they pretend to their faces
Oh.
that they like and that they care about, they would beat them senseless in the fucking street if they could get away with it.
Yeah. It's so funny because I have had an encounter with someone who freely used the N-word. And when I said to them, "Oh my God, I've never used the N-word, and it's not a word
Yeah.
that's in my presence," they said, "It's not a word that I ever use either." And I'm like, you literally just said it. Like
Like, they
you
use it
dropped
so
it in a
often, they don't
conversation,
even
you said
realize
it
it.
during a joke. Like, what? Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm like, those are the kinds of people that are like, say one thing and it's totally like lost on them that,
Uh-huh.
well, when I talk about like people of color, I don't mean so and so. You know what I mean? Like, oh my
Uh-huh.
gosh.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was fun with the Patriot Front showing up in Kansas City. And it was quite
Yeah.
I heard a lot of chatter of
But
people
they
that were
definitely
talking about
didn't
it.
get the reaction that I think they were hoping for. That's
I
for
agree.
sure.
I would agree. Okay. A couple of other crazy things that happened over the last 2 weeks while we were off gallivanting around.
Yes. Yes.
Christy Nome doesn't know what habeas corpus is.
I mean, it's fine. Why should the Homeland Security?
Are we
Secretary-
concerned?
I mean, but what do you? I love that when she. Oh my God, I love that when she was asked, she fucking said, "quote Habeas corpus is a constitutional right that the president has to be able to remove people from this country." Bitch,
Yep.
what?
It's like, okay, wow, you're really wrong.
Yeah, you're not
you're
just
really wrong.
like, you're so fucking wrong. Like, can we get this bitch a pocketbook constitution?
Yeah. MSNBC described it as when asked to define the legal principle of habeas corpus, the former South Dakota governor face planted. Like literally, she face plant. Like, and I
Yeah,
just wonder. So, in all fairness, I understand that every single legal idea, phrase you might not have at the tip of your mind.
right.
But habeas corpus is one of those things when you're the director of Homeland Security. When you are like running mass deportation, it feels like this is the one thing that your team should have been talking about multiple times. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like at the
Because
end of
it's
the
the one
day,
thing
like
you're
this is
refusing people.
right. This is a concept that like someone should have said the words to you, and
Yes.
then you should have been like, I don't know what that means. I better go Google it.
Google
Right.
it
Like
real quick.
someone
Yes.
in your world should have
Yes.
said the words habeas corpus to you. Right.
Yes. Yes.
And the fact that they didn't is
Right.
like, really? You're not even having a conversation about it. You're not even having conversations about it. Habeas corpus is a constitutional right that the president has. Wrong. That's so wrong. That is
Yeah, to kick
so,
people out of
so
our
wrong.
country. Like that's not even you're not even in the fucking parking lot of the ball field, bitch. That's how far out of line you are with not even understanding what habeas corpus is. I don't get it.
Yep.
And then when she was pressed on it by one of the senators, who, explained it to her.
Yeah.
Like maybe, you know what? I have on DVD all the Schoolhouse Rock videos.
Of course
I
you
bought
do.
them.
That
I
doesn't
bought them
surprise
when
me
my
at
child was
fucking
tiny.
all.
So
That
I have all the Schoolhouse Rock TV on DVD. Maybe I should, for the sanity of our country, should I ship those to Christy Nome and be like, bitch, sit down and watch these?
I mean,
And I don't know
because
that habeas is in any of those. Maybe it's discussed in one of them. I don't know. But
at
like,
least due process is. So
yes.
that's my thing is like when you're thinking about the words like due process, habeas
Yeah.
corpus has to come up. I mean,
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe not, but if
with
not,
her
I'm
whole
shocked.
chest in a congressional hearing, you made a gigantic ass out of yourself.
So that's the other thing is like this was a congressional hearing on TV and another senator was questioning you. You have to be embarrassed, right? Like,
Oh my god! And this is gonna live
yeah,
forever.
yeah, yes.
This is worse than a fucking nude picture getting sent out on the internet. Like this is fucking horrible. Like what are you doing?
I would venture to say that I don't. So which one is worse? Our national security dude, like using a text message chain and then accidentally adding someone to it,
Oh
like
my
the
god!
guy in charge of security making a
Yes.
conversation
On
unsecure,
Signal, yes. Oh
or
my
the
god!
person that is being questioned on due process, not knowing what habeas corpus is. Like,
Who's in charge of like
right?
enacting Trump's immigration policy?
Like, which one is worse? You gotta ask.
Oh
You
my
gotta
god!
ask.
And all these fucking clowns are running our country.
These clowns are running our country.
Like Jesus Christ! I remember when I thought that MTG was the worst it could get.
Girl, do you know, I was behind a car the other day that was MTG-LVR, and I was like, do you think they love Marjorie Taylor Greene or meetings or like, what do you think that was? So I have not figured that out yet, but I swear to God, I really did think Marjorie Taylor Greene was the worst of it. And now I'm like, oh, I could take some normal Marjorie Taylor Greene crazy today. Like, I'm just saying.
Yes.
And you realize that this makes Sarah Palin look like a goddamn
That's
genius.
what I was just thinking. Yes, Sarah Palin looks like, yes.
Like you and I are old enough to remember Sarah Palin as being the dumbest bitch in America. No more. But this is the worst thing about this is that like Pete Hegseth looks bad. But Kristi Noem and Sarah Palin and Marjorie Taylor Greene make all women look so bad.
Well, yeah, and what's her name given a hand job during a MTG's best friend? What the fuck's her name? Given the handy during a damn Broadway show. Like you know who I'm talking about.
Colorado.
Yes, Colorado. I can't think of her name. But I'm just like, I cannot believe that we have dumber people than MTG and her bestie who gives hand jobs during a, fucking Broadway show and gets escorted out.
Bobert.
Oh yeah,
Bobert.
Bobo.
That's
I
right. I'm
couldn't
like,
remember.
Colorado. Yes.
Yes. Oh,
Hmm.
Bobo. Yes.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
who had to switch her district when she re-ran because she was not going to win the district she had always been in. Like, Christy Nome is dumber than all of those dumbasses.
Hmm. Yep.
Like, mother of God, what is going on?
That's my thing, is that it makes us look so bad. It just makes us look
Yes.
so bad.
On the world stage. Yes.
It
Because
really does.
like, Christy Nome's a pick me. Caroline Levitt is a fucking pick me. Like,
Yep.
they just, it's, oh my God, it's just the fucking worst. They're the fucking worst.
They really are. They really are. Yes, Lauren Boebert. I can't believe I just Googled that. Thank God I'm not on my work computer, because I'm like,
Yes.
who is a senator that gave me a job?
Yes, had to be escorted out. Yes.
Hey
Oh,
guys, if I get fired tomorrow, you might have a
yeah.
GoFundMe that
Yeah.
accompanies this video. Please give liberally to it if you
Oh
find
my
it.
God.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
Okay, let's see. Okay, the last thing that we have to talk about,
Yeah.
real quick before we get into the big beautiful bill and a couple of other
Yeah.
like big things. I know you and I both heard about the FDA limiting COVID
Oh,
shots
COVID
to people that
shots.
are
Yeah.
considered seniors or high risk. I know that that was introduced without any indication of what exactly qualifies as high risk.
Yeah.
So I saw articles that were like, is your pharmacist going to determine? And I will
Right.
tell you, you and I are both, we have talked openly about being on
Yes.
the, what Trump lovingly refers to as the fat
That
shot.
shot.
We are both on the fat shot and have been very successful on the fat shot, despite what Trump might say about his friend,
Yes.
Elon Musk, or whoever it is.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But like you and I both found that like leaving it up to insurance providers
Yeah.
and pharmacists and that sort of thing to make decisions about who gets what and who doesn't get what has caused like inaccessibility to
Yeah.
medications that people actively need.
Yeah.
And so it was like, for me, it was a challenge of, okay, we'll go to Walmart because they're not going to check to see if you have diabetic medication, if you're
Yeah.
trying to get Mounjaro, because then it's like you have to battle, like it was a big thing. And so to this point, like, sure, I get the idea that limiting additional COVID shots is something that you guys are worried about. And I don't think anybody, myself included, has any issues with being more careful with our pharmaceuticals. We
Mm-hmm.
all saw like what happened with Oxy, what happened with
Yeah.
hydrocodone. Like we saw, fentanyl and addictions
Yeah.
that have now like ravaged the country. And I don't think anybody would say that like there shouldn't be more rigor, especially from the FDA, around what those medications do and who they serve. But with that said, I also am like, but we need to do it safely and smartly and without like just limiting people's access to life-saving medications. I luckily, knock on wood, have yet to have contracted COVID. I don't know if I'm just one of those people that can't get it because my household's had it twice, but I've never gotten it. And I
Yeah.
keep testing for it. Like I didn't take the Trump way of, well, if you don't test for it, you never get it, right?
Yeah.
I did not. I
Exactly.
haven't
Yeah.
done that.
Yes.
So I've been lucky enough to do that, but I know like so many people that are still terrified and they've gotten it recently. And while
Yeah.
it might not have been life threatening, it's been absolutely fucking
Yeah.
killer. Because how
I
many
mean,
times have you gotten?
I've had it once, and I have had the COVID shot every year except for this year. I did not get the COVID shot. And it fucks with my arthritis, and I'm
Yeah.
sick for fucking 2 days afterwards, but I kept getting it. And
Yeah.
then I got COVID in winter of 24, so last year.
Yeah.
And I came down with COVID 2 days after I got my shot. And
Oh,
so I was so sick. I was so sick. Even though I'd had the shot every year, since it had been available and all the things, it didn't matter. I was so sick. High fevers, lots of vomiting, like all the things. I was so sick. I still get the flu shot every year.
I do
I
too.
just did not get the COVID shot this year because of how sick I was last year. And I was just like, I don't fucking want to deal with it. And
Hmm.
just knowing I was going to be down for 2 days, because that's happened to me every time I've gotten the shot.
Yeah.
But my family didn't end up with COVID after I'd had it. And,
Yeah.
but I have an issue with, it sounds like we're going to refuse to let people make a decision for themselves
Right.
on whether they want to get a COVID shot. Like,
That's right.
people that are
And
over 65 and high risk, I'm all for it. And children, like they should get priority. But to your point, like, how do we determine at risk? Is it obesity? Is it your blood pressure?
smokers,
Is it
right,
yeah, like how
right.
do we do and I do think that they should get front of line access if they want it before somebody who is healthy like me has a chance to show up and get it.
Well, and it's killing me that this is becoming such a politicized,
Yes.
political line issue.
Yes.
Like, we know COVID was a left versus right issue, when
Yes.
at the end of the day, that should, like, all we all agree that pharmaceuticals in this country are fucked up. And
Yes.
we all agree that, like, we should be able to make decisions for ourselves. Insurance companies shouldn't
Yeah.
be able to make decisions for us. Like, if there's one thing that the left and the
Mhm.
right can agree on, it's the fact that our medical and our pharmaceutical systems are absolutely garbage. I
Yes.
don't know anyone. I don't know anyone left or right that doesn't believe that we should have universal health care and that insurance companies should not be making decisions for us. Like,
Yeah.
none. I know
Yeah.
nobody that
And
does not believe that.
if you believe that the pharmaceutical companies and the medical companies have your best interests in mind,
I have a bridge to sell you.
that's exactly right.
I have a
Because
bridge to
I
sell
mean,
you.
good God.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. And so, like, that's where I'm at as far as a nation. And so, to specifically target COVID, it's like,
Mhm.
oh, we're going to figure out how to
Yeah.
divide people. Like,
Yeah.
this is how we're going to do it, is we're going to figure out how to divide people. And it's so unnecessary. Like,
Yes.
there's people, to be perfectly honest, my Republican friends who might be for or against COVID vaccines or whatever. They believe what they believe, and
Yeah.
there's no conversation about it. Like, we are not arguing about this, but
No.
we're going to bring it up here. We're going to make it a front, because the more
Yep.
we're arguing, the better off that our political systems are, and
Yeah.
it's
Well,
absolutely
yeah.
insane.
And if we argue about this, then we're not paying attention to the grift and everything else that's happening behind our backs. And I'm just
That's
like, I
exactly
think
right.
arguing about getting a COVID shot or getting a flu shot is fucking stupid.
It
Like, make
is.
it available, make it, where if you fall into these categories, you get front of line access, and after that, anybody that's healthy and wants one has access to get one. And let's go about our fucking day.
That's
And
right.
let's just like stop making it a fucking issue. Like
That's
I
right.
just it's insane to me. Yeah.
Yes, that is exactly correct.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into the bulk of
Okay.
what we want to talk about today.
Okay.
The first big thing that I read about today
Yeah.
was how emotionally overwhelmed Vladimir Putin is today.
Oh, oh, I didn't know. I didn't realize.
Yeah. So Trump came out, you read
Oh,
this,
yeah.
and said, I've always had a very good relationship with Vladimir Putin of Russia, but something has happened to him. He has gone absolutely crazy, all caps. He is needlessly killing a lot of people, and I'm not just talking about soldiers. Missiles and drones are being shot into cities in Ukraine for no reason whatsoever, Trump posted on Truth Social. Hours earlier, Trump had told reporters, I'm not happy with what Putin is doing. He's killing a lot of people, and I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. Sir,
I know. Again, can we have a cognitive test?
can I give him a cognitive test? Because someone is doing him a disservice.
Yes.
This is like, is no one telling him what's happening the last 3 years? To your point, is this Peepaw and you're like, okay, Peepaw, whatever, but you don't
Right.
tell him what's really going on because
Yes.
like what the fuck? He's been needlessly killing people that's why everyone
That's
has been
why he's
against
president
this fucking war.
Well, and it's why he's president forever in Moscow. He
Yes.
poisons the fucking journalists. He killed his dude he fucking had a plane fall out of the goddamn sky when that guy was trying to defend.
How
The
is
military guy.
Trump
Like, what are you
I've all of
talking
a
about?
sudden realized that Vladimir Putin is killing people. Can you imagine that? Yes, because he's been doing it for fucking years.
Yes.
What are you talking
Yes.
about?
Literally. Yes.
I just, it's
Every day is a new day. Every day is a new day with this
it
motherfucker.
truly
Every day.
is.
Yeah.
I just can't fucking believe that this is what we are talking about right now. That
Yeah.
he is acting like he is totally and completely perplexed and had no idea
Yeah.
that freaking Putin is the way that he is. Like, I just, okay. Russia's response, that Putin's on emotional overload right now. The Kremlin responded Monday to President Trump's criticism of Russian President Putin, citing emotional overload at this very important moment. We are really grateful to the Americans and to President Trump personally for their assistance in organizing and launching this negotiation process. Of course, at the same time, this is a very crucial moment, which is associated, of course, with the emotional overload of everyone, absolutely, and with emotional reactions. Okay, your face right now is
Sorry.
exactly where I was when I was reading this. I'm like, okay,
What?
is there like a translation thing here? Like, why do we say emotional so many times? Like,
Well, right. And I can't
what do you
believe
think he
that
means?
I can't believe that Putin, Mr. No shirt on a horse,
Yeah,
allowed a post to come out, a statement to come out from the Kremlin that he's having emotional overload.
I know.
Like,
And
what does
and
that even mean?
we, okay, here's the sentence. I've got to read the sentence again.
Okay, I'm so confused.
Of course, at the same time, this is a very crucial moment, which is associated, of course, with the emotional overload of everyone, absolutely, and with emotional reactions.
What?
What?
That's like two different thoughts. I don't even understand. Like,
I don't either. Like,
oh
it
my God. Did
it
Trump
doesn't make
write
sense
that?
to me. Like, it's a bunch of words that we're just gonna say emotional a lot of times. So
Is that
yeah,
supposed to elicit
apparently,
sympathy for Pootie? Because it doesn't. I'm
right.
sorry, I'm all out. I'm all out.
So 10 years later, Trump's finally figured out that Putin is mean to people,
Right, shocker.
which, thank you for entering the world. Like, how
Yes,
stupid do
literally.
you have to look that you are now, like 10 years after this man has bought your original election, by the way? How stupid do you have to look to now be like, okay, now I don't need you to buy me an election. So I'm finally going to come out and say, you're being a bad person.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Like, either you're going to look
Yeah.
stupid or you're going to look corrupt. And I know which one I think you are. Like,
Yeah.
I know how I feel about it is that I don't think that you're actually this stupid.
Nope.
I think you absolutely knew what you were saying. And it wasn't until
Yep.
you didn't need him for buying your elections anymore that you can
100%.
finally come out and say, hey, Putin is actually a really bad guy and we need to punish him for it. Right.
Yeah.
But I just thought you had to listen to that reaction because your face is
I
exactly how my brain, when I
I
first read
had
it,
not
responded like, huh?
I had not heard any of that. And so I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, like that was a genuine like what the fuck reaction to what
Yeah. What the fuck? Yeah.
I don't understand.
Nope. Well, in all fairness, when Putin was riding a horse with his shirt off, I had a similar reaction. So,
Yeah.
you know, what the fuck?
Yes,
Yeah.
literally.
Anyway. Okay.
Yes.
Let's
Oh,
talk
God.
about the big, beautiful bill.
Bill.
Okay.
Yes.
Can we talk about, do we think Donald Trump masturbates on the toilet to the big, beautiful bill?
Sweet
It's a
Jesus, I just
Donald
about spit
Trump
my
toilet
squeaky out.
episode today. Like, that's all. Like, do you think that they named it that just so because he told Mike Johnson, you know, every
Oh,
time
yeah.
you come out the big beautiful bill, I get a little chubby. Like,
Yeah,
do you think that happened?
I get so
Like, it's
excited.
the only explanation to
Yes.
call it that, right?
Yes. Oh God. It it makes us look so stupid.
It does.
It sounds so stupid.
Well,
That this
and
is
it
what
was
we're
clearly
calling it.
like a hit job, right? Like, we're
Oh.
going to bring it to the floor
Yeah.
at 1 a.m.
1
on
a.m.
Wednesday morning. We're going to completely closed door conversations for
Yeah.
basically 24 hours and then pass it Thursday in the middle of the night. Like, oh my fucking God.
And this is
So,
what we talked about before that pisses me off about the Democrats.
yep.
Do this
And
shit.
that's right. So
Going
to your
forward.
point, they used a vote of reconciliation, and that's how they got it through without having to use they didn't have an opportunity to filibuster it.
Yep.
And so to your point, the House has passed it. It's moving on to the Senate. Great. I love this journey for us.
Yes.
So the major thing is making the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act permanent, which this This is my
Yeah.
biggest problem with Joe Biden, period, point blank, that
Yeah.
we left the 2017 tax cuts and job acts permanent. The 2017 tax cuts and jobs act, they did raise the standard deduction and they increased the amount of the child tax credit. And that is where they stopped
Mm-hmm.
benefiting regular people. So did I see a slight increase in my standard deduction to the point where I no longer itemize? Yes, I did, especially because I bought my house at the prime
Mm.
like interest. So
Yeah.
I don't pay any money to borrow money to buy my house, but it lowered the estate tax. It lowered the corporate tax significantly that Republicans swore companies were
Yeah.
going to use to pay people more.
Yeah.
But
Which they
we have
did.
seen
Shocker.
that workers,
Yeah.
the amount of workers' pay has only increased by a very tiny fraction,
Yep.
and that the like 90% of that money has gone towards stock buybacks for wealthy Americans. Like, let's be honest, that's where
Yeah.
those went, is to
Yeah.
go back to wealthy Americans. And of course, the estate tax changes and corporate tax changes went to wealthy Americans. Like, that's where those people benefited for that. So, all of that is going to stay and it's going to become permanent, apparently, because Joe Biden did not reverse those when he had the chance. Um, it also expands the small business deduction and allows for 100% expensing of new and improved factories because, again, we are a 1920s robber baron that
Yeah.
believes America has to go back to manufacturing things in factories in order to bring wealth back to the country.
Yeah. Trump thinks he's Carnegie.
He thinks, yes, he thinks he's Carnegie. He
Hmm.
thinks he's Rockefeller. That's
Yep.
what he thinks he's doing. And it's just absolutely crazy to me.
Hmm.
By the way, did you see that the first quarter of 2025 is the first time since COVID that the gross domestic product has gone down?
No, I hadn't
And
seen
it's
that.
only gone down, a small percentage, but it is I think the first time that it's gone down since COVID. So yeah,
Yikes.
we're really winning. Okay. So let's talk about what it does for the wealthy besides the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act.
Yeah.
It increases the estate tax exemption. So right now, you only can claim the estate tax for a certain amount of so you the first whatever percent of your estate tax is exempt from taxes. It of course increases that, which the only people inheriting estates are fucking rich
Are
people.
wealthy people. Yeah.
It also increases the state and local tax deduction cap. So right now, one of the things that the original tax thing did was you could now deduct your state and local taxes from your federal taxes.
Mm.
And it used to put a cap on that of $10,000. It raised that cap to $40,000,
Oh
which
shit.
at the end of the day, like, how many of us are paying that much in state taxes?
Yeah. No.
None of us.
Mm-mm.
No.
Mm-mm.
Okay. And then there are all these fake things that Trump has brought about in order to try and make it look like he's fulfilling campaign promises that do
Mm-hmm.
absolutely nothing for the majority of
Nothing.
Americans. And I will say that when I first read the bill, I was like, hey, Donald Trump did say he was going to take out taxes on tips and
Yeah.
taxes on overtime.
Yeah.
So, and there were provisions in there that actually address those things. But when you go in and you read them, they're so complicated. So, as an example, the no tax on tips is only for tips that are reported to your employer and appear on a W 2. It's only for certain industries that are to be named later because there's no provision that says which industries those apply to.
Of course.
And it only applies to a cap of $25,000. A server making more than $160,000 is exempt from this deduction. And all it does is take the amount that you made on those tips and then it deducts it from your AGI, like your adjusted gross income. So at the end of the day, it's so complicated.
Mm-hmm.
And it, at the, basically what they have said is that of those that will actually qualify, because as you probably know, if you're a bartender that is living in New York or California,
Uh-huh.
your wages are going to be likely more than $160,000 just because that's how much it costs to fucking live.
Yeah,
Do
the
you
cost
know
of living is so
the
high.
median house price in the United States is like $420,000 or something crazy like that?
Is it
It is
really?
absolutely fucking insane. And so, like, I
Wow.
think this is where this is where our rich lawmakers are so out of
Out of
touch
touch.
with what the reality is for
Yeah.
everyday Americans, that they say that maybe 4 in 10 servers will actually see some benefit to what this will bring them. That 6 out of 10 servers will, or,
They're
tip
not going to see
earners,
any
this will
change.
make
Yeah.
no difference whatsoever.
Holy shit.
Same with overtime. So they are saying that overtime, it's so rare for people to earn actual overtime, and you have to earn it at a certain wage in order for it to qualify, and then it becomes a deduction on your AGI. So at the end of the day, like, the number of people that will actually benefit from the
Mhm.
no tax on overtime is minuscule
Well,
compared to,
and I mean, I don't know the breakdown of it for the overtime, but I know at my company, there are a certain subset of employees that do rake in a lot of overtime.
yeah.
Companies, and I'm not saying my company's going to do this, but there are going to be lots of companies that will find out a way
Oh,
to eliminate
for sure.
overtime
Move
because
everyone to salary.
we're just not going to fuck with this. We're
That's
just not
right.
going to fuck with this
That's right.
because to your point, it's too much of a pain in the ass to figure out all the
Yep.
math behind it and make sure we're complying with the law and all that. We're just not going to fuck with it. So now there's just no
Yes,
overtime.
that's right. Um, so that's where, like, your big tax changes are.
Hmm.
They added $4 billion for border security and the border wall.
Hmm.
Okay, last time we talked about the MAGA savings account.
Oh God, yeah.
They
I have
renamed
some
it.
stuff that. Oh, to the Trump. It's a Trump savings account now, isn't it?
Now the Trump savings
Yeah,
account. Yep.
yeah.
And so any kid born between 2024 and 2028 is going to get $1,000 from the feds, and it's going to go into the savings account. Okay. Okay.
Which can I ask this? When I read this today, I'm like, why January 1 of 24? He wasn't president then. Why is that the date?
I don't know. But here's again, it's now very complicated because in order to earn that $1,000, you have to open the account, and then you have to, like, federally declare it, and then you have to put it on your taxes. And so to that point, like, it's going to become so complicated that people
Uh-huh.
are like, fuck
Not
it, I'll
gonna
just
do it.
open a savings account and put money in there.
Right.
Okay, it's $1,000, great, but at the end of the day, like, it's too complicated for people to actually benefit
Yes.
from, and it's literally only 4 years.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about the changes to Medicaid.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Hmm.
so the big changes are that it will now require work for able-bodied adults between 18 and 65 without children under the age of 7.
Hmm.
Couple of things with that. I I read this and my first instinct is like, you know what? If someone is on Medicaid and getting insurance, they should be required to work. Okay, so I start reading about it. And
Hmm.
again, this is where people are so out of touch because the other thing that they're doing is requiring more frequent eligibility checks. So
Yep.
people are going to have to confirm that they're more eligible. So Georgia instituted something called the Pathway to Medicaid or something like that, that
Hmm.
basically did this same thing, which was, hey, you now have to, if you're an able-bodied person, you have to show proof of work. Instead of saving money, it cost Georgians $26 million
Oh
because
shit.
it requires more operational support
Oh yeah.
for people to make sure the website's up and
Uh-huh.
running, meet with people that want to meet in person, answer questions, have phone calls, whatever. So it ended up costing the state more money than it saved them by taking people off Medicaid. And
Well,
what the reality
that
is
makes
that the
sense.
people that are losing their Medicaid, because I decided, I'm like, I have to research this because in my mind, yes, if you're able bodied, you should be working. You should be
Hmm.
trying not to just live off the system and live off the dole. But able bodied means that you don't qualify for a Social Security disability, which a Social Security disability requires sometimes months and years of
Yep.
going to a doctor to
Hmm.
get the qualifications in order to submit to say, I'm disabled.
Hmm.
These are people that can't afford to go to doctors. They don't have cars to drive to doctors. They
Mhm.
don't have people to watch their kids to go to doctors if they even have kids. And I love
Mhm.
the fact that once a kid turns 7, that motherfucker can stay on their own. Like,
Yeah.
apparently, we don't have to worry
We
about
don't have to
childcare
give
for kids that are 8 years
healthcare,
and older.
but we care about children, the sanctity
That's
of
right.
life, right?
That's
And
right.
require them to work 80 hours a month, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, and I understand that. But to your earlier point, it's now going to cost more for the administrative purposes of like who's verifying that all these people are working 80 hours a month and who's doing like it's not
So,
saving.
and to your point, a lot of these people live in communities that might not have jobs that have 80 hours a
Yes.
month to give, or
Yes.
volunteer opportunities to give 80 hours to people to be able to go out and do
Yep.
these things.
Yep.
We live in a metropolitan city, and so do all these fucking senators
Mhm.
that are writing these bills.
Yep.
But here in rural Missouri, I think about, like, for people that live in the middle of the goddamn state, like, have they live in small farm towns,
Yeah.
and they don't have a car to drive to the local Sonic that is 25 minutes away. And
Right.
even if they they get 5 hours a week. Now they don't get
Yes.
to keep their Medicaid. And so they're not getting any insurance.
And so
And
what, we're
oh
gonna
my
ask
God, are
them.
you fucking serious?
Yeah, so now they're gonna work 3 jobs?
That's right. In order to try and get to the 80 hours. And that's everyone's competing for the same 3 Sonics
Exactly.
that are within a 45-minute drive. Like,
Yep.
this is where people don't realize that
Yeah.
when we're talking about poor America, you are talking about when I was in Appalachia and I was working on my work camp. Like, we went to Appalachia, we worked on a work camp. The only community building that was there was the church that we were building and a
Mhm.
couple of outbuildings. And we came from miles away because
Mhm.
finding work camp areas to work at were difficult. When I went to the Navajo Nation and I was there on the Indian reservation volunteering with Habitat for Humanity, like, I was building houses that did not
Yeah.
have running fucking water.
Water.
There was
Yeah.
one building in the whole place that had running water. To get to a city that actually had job opportunities was 35-minute drive at best. And that was through the goddamn fucking desert of Tuba City. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think people, like, this is why it's so important for people to understand. Yes, you and I have an abundance of jobs that offer 80 hours a
Mhm.
month, an abundance
Mhm.
of jobs that we can go out and do for 80. And in those circumstances, do I think it's a bad idea to require people to at least try and get those jobs in order to continue getting insurance if they're not fighting a actual issue that they have? Because that's the other thing,
Yeah.
is you have people that are caring for parents, elderly parents.
Right.
You have people caring for dementia patients. You have people that are caring for adult disabled children that don't have anywhere else to go because
Yeah.
they don't have any money either.
And no access to public transit to get
That's right.
around.
And those people can't show up at your Medicaid
Mhm.
office to continuously check for eligibility unless they have someone there to help them. And these programs are what they rely on to be able to have insurance for these people to actually go see doctors. And that's the reality, is like, if you don't understand where people are and where they're coming from, it's literally inhumane. Like, I can't think of
Well,
anything.
and this is, I mean, yeah, they're reducing Medicaid by $700 billion, and they
So
don't give a shit. They don't
that's
give
the
a
other
shit.
thing, is we just say we're cutting federal funding of $700 billion,
Yeah.
and we're going to make up for that in the people that are going to come off the government dole
Mhm.
because they're no longer going to be eligible. And I'm like, sir,
Yeah.
go talk to Georgia.
Yeah.
Go talk to
Go talk to
Georgia.
Mississippi. Yeah.
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 So that is really heartbreaking.
Yeah.
The other thing they put in this bill, and this is so indicative of fucking right wing stupidity. They put in there that they're going to ban Medicaid covering gender transition surgeries.
Oh, I don't think it
Like,
does now, does it?
I,
I
I don't
don't
know if
know.
it does or doesn't, but are
But
you
why are we
fucking
putting this
kidding
in
me that
there?
we have to
Like
put
this,
that in the
yeah,
goddamn
we
bill?
have to.
Like,
Yes, of
really?
course we
And the
do.
only reason why they're doing it is so that some Republican in, what is it, 526 days, did you tell me, can
Mhm.
say the Democrats were voting against the cuts to Medicaid for things that included
Yes.
the not able to cover gender transition services.
Yeah.
And no Democrat I know is going to be running on that, like,
Right.
as a whatever.
As their
They only
platform.
put, like,
Yes.
was that really necessary? Was that really necessary?
Oh my God.
But no, because we're going to continue to,
To beat that drum. Yeah.
right. We're going to continue to make sure that we make transgender rights
Hmm.
a goddamn topic that we can all fucking vote for or against in the next election. And
Yeah.
this is where the Republicans get it right.
Yeah.
Other things, provisions, food stamps now
Mhm.
raises the age of required work to qualify for food stamps from 54 to 64 because
Yep.
fuck those old people. It
Exactly.
shifts at least a substantial amount of cost to the states and removes $267 billion in federal spending. So
Yep.
that right there is almost $1 trillion between
Hmm.
Medicaid and food stamps. Other things is that it rolls back almost all of the clean energy programs that
Mm.
required things like so we talked about this last time, like all of the credits that you got for clean energy, all of those, like, grants and things like that that were eligible for green energy, gone. In addition, we are now requiring a federal registration fee of $250 for electric vehicles and $100 for hybrid vehicles.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, girl. Apparently, like, that's part of this bill now, is we're going to force people that want to buy cars that utilize clean energy, we're going to make them register and charge an extra fee.
Wow.
But we are going to remove the $200 fee on silencers.
Oh my God. I had that in my thing too. I was hoping you were going to bring it up. Well, yeah. Yeah. I mean, of course we are.
It
Of
is
course we are.
it is never more clear what our priorities are.
Yep.
We are going to add a fee for clean energy, and we're going to remove a fee for
Yep.
gun
For
silencers.
fucking silencers. Yeah. And I didn't realize that that tax has been in place since 1934.
1934, girl.
Yeah.
1934. I'm like,
Yeah.
holy fucking shit.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I did see a quote today that pro-policing groups say that the elimination of that tax inhibits law enforcement from being able to respond to active shooters because the silencers make it difficult to recognize the sound of gunfire and locate the source of
I
gunfire.
love this journey for
And so I'm
us.
like, but we're pro back the blue, but okay, because of course the NRA is like, we're all for this shit.
Yes. And then the last thing is it raises the debt ceiling by
I love this. I
$4 trillion.
love that because they're the party of fiscal conservatism.
That's right. They're so fiscally conservative. I swear to God. The Independent Congressional Budget Office. So, the Independent Congressional Budget Office, a
Yep.
totally supposedly bipartisan group,
Yep.
has estimated that nearly 8 million Americans will lose healthcare coverage in the coming decade through changes made in the massive domestic policy measures. So, that's exciting. Yes, Trump himself warned Republicans not to fuck with Medicaid, but the new party line is that we are not fucking with Medicaid. We are preventing massive fraud on Medicaid. And that is what we are doing.
Oh my God.
Yep. So love this. I love this journey for us. Like, so here's the real fucked up part. A lot of these provisions don't go into place until 2028.
Mm-hmm.
So these changes are going to occur at the end of this
At this
presidency.
presidency. Mhm.
And so I had a friend of the podcast who does listen, does watch, and has shared us before. So thank you. Posted something about it. And it's one of those things that I had never really considered about, like, the timing. I have always made the assumption that, like, when these bills go in place, they go in place. And, like, it
Yeah.
doesn't dawn on me to read through the bill for the timing of when these things actually go into effect.
Yeah.
But then realizing that, oh, we're going to put the ugliest and the meanest stuff in right before the election is like, wow, that way you don't feel the effects of it. So
Yep.
when we go into the
You
election, people
forget.
aren't right.
Uh-huh.
People aren't going to know what those effects are, but we're going to see it. Like, it's going to happen on the next guy's job, which
Yeah, and then that's who's going to get blamed for it, right?
that's
Because
right.
everyone has no memory retention of who the fuck passed this bill. And then when you bring it to their attention of
Yep.
who actually passed the bill, they're going to call you a liar.
You're right. You're correct.
because
You're
they're not
correct.
going. They don't want to remember it.
Nope, not at all. Okay, so those were the biggest things that I had as call outs on this
Yeah,
bill. Anything
yeah.
that I missed that you
I
saw?
have one thing that buried in the bill, Section 70302, is the restriction of the federal court's authority to hold government officials in contempt if they violate judicial orders. Yeah, the reconciliation bill would require anyone suing the government to pay a bond before the court could use its contempt power to enforce injunctions or restraining orders meant to halt illegal actions.
Yeah, good point. I had read that piece and I knew, this shouldn't pass the smell
Hmm.
test,
Yeah,
but it's one of those things I did not record
yeah,
in my
yeah.
notes. So good call.
So yeah, that's
Yeah, that
it's
doesn't sound bad at all. Like that
no.
seems like a totally normal thing to put in a
Yeah, I
bill.
mean, considering that, like, what did I read? Courts have already ruled 170 times against the Trump administration. This
Right.
is why this is buried in this bill, folks. Because
That's
this
right.
is how you stop
100%.
the judicial process. Is you can't have
Yep.
a separation of powers if they're not allowed to. But
Right. If
again,
they're
I
not
don't
allowed
know
to
what
hold someone in
if they're not
contempt.
about to
So,
hold you accountable. But I wonder if that will take effect to the point you were just making about like when do certain things take effect. I
oh,
wonder when that takes effect.
because to your point, there are very specific things and there are timelines of when these things go into effect. So some
Yeah.
things are now, some things are not. I'm positive this is a now thing.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
I would be positive about it.
Yeah.
Oh, the corruption in the
It's
regime
I
is
know,
real.
it really is. It
Okay.
really is.
I do want to just give a very quick, so the one thing that we can say is that Democrats have not been a part of this conversation whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, I have heard absolute fucking nothing. Like I know I
Mhm.
hear from the Democrats about how much they hate this bill, but at the end of the day, like they're not participating in this at all, which
Mhm.
might be a blessing in disguise. What do we have? 520 whatever days.
Yeah.
Um, I also want to quickly say that as far as this big beautiful bill is concerned,
Such a
uh,
stupid name. I
I
can't
know
help
it's
it.
like the
It's
worst
just
name
so
ever.
goddamn dumb.
I'm surprised it's not worse. I've got to say, I'm actually
Oh.
surprised considering the
Well,
fact that
yeah.
it's not worse than it is. Like
I mean,
it's
honestly,
bad.
yeah, last week when the first couple of times it failed, there were Republicans coming out saying, "I can't vote for this. It's not taking enough away
Yeah,
from Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security." Like
yeah,
they wanted deeper cuts to those programs.
yes.
And so, yeah, to your point, it could have been way worse. I'll be interested to see how this fares.
It's gonna pass.
But do you think it's going to pass as it stands? Or do you think they're going to make provisions to it?
I'm sure they will make provisions, but I doubt they will be significant.
Any
You know what
kind
I'm
of,
saying?
yeah, yeah,
I honestly think it would not surprise me if there were some provisions made, but honestly, I don't think it's going to be something that's really that significant.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, everyone go buy a silencer because you're going to be able to
that's right.
not have to pay
But
taxes
make
on it.
sure that you buy your electric vehicle or hybrid before you have to pay your $100 fee or
That's
$250
exactly
fee
right.
because apparently that's going to be a thing.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, well, we will keep you all informed of what changes are made in the
Yes.
big,
Big,
beautiful
beautiful
bullshit
bill.
bill.
Yes,
We
literally.
will also be happy to continue watching this and keep you all updated with what's going on there. Some things I haven't touched on. So James Carville's being really active in the political Democratic Party about how much Bernie Sanders needs to butt out. And I love it that a lot of mainstream Democratic media is coming out and saying, shut the fuck up, James Carville, you're an old man.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I love this.
Yeah.
I do. There are some other little minutia stories that are floating
Mhm.
around right now, but none of them I don't think are necessarily rising to us talking about them. But maybe next week they will. So we'll see what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
With that said, Nicole, do
Would you
you
like your
have
happy ending?
my
Yes,
happy ending?
I do.
Do you know, Nicole? Can I tell you this really quick?
Yeah. Yeah.
We were talking about the happy ending, and my mother was saying that this is her favorite segment on our show.
Shut
To
up,
the
Sue. I love
to the
it.
point where she fast forwards all the way to the
Oh,
happy ending and only
and
listens to
then
that.
starts over.
But can I tell you,
That's amazing.
I had to explain to her why we call it a
The
happy
happy
ending.
ending. Shut.
So, if any of our geriatric reader or listeners
Not
are listening
geriatric. How dare you? I'm
and does
offended.
not know what a
Just
happy
kidding.
ending is, I invite you to ask your child or grandchild to explain to you
Oh my
what a
god.
happy
What's a
ending
happy
is.
ending? Oh
Don't
my god,
Google
I
it.
love it. Don't
Don't
Google it.
Google it.
Yes.
Go ask a loved one to explain it to
Yes,
you. Okay.
literally. Oh my
Please
god,
tell
that's
us what
so
our
great.
happy ending is for the week.
Okay, our story comes from Pennsylvania this week.
Okay.
So, a family had to make a difficult decision about putting
Oh.
down the family dog.
Oh.
Um, 8-year-old, 120-pound Great Dane Iris had
Oh.
cancer. And so the family had made the difficult decision that, like, she needed to go. It was not like they'd done all these treatments, it wasn't helping, whatever. So, the Metzger family decided to treat Iris to a last day party, right? So they had like treats and all these things. For dinner, the Metzger family ordered an 8-ounce New York strip steak,
Nice.
steak fries, mashed potatoes with butter, because fuck yes, Iris deserves to leave this earthly plane with butter in her veins.
Yeah.
um, from the local Texas Roadhouse. And
Oh.
on the order, which my family loves Texas Roadhouse, so that was another part of this story that I was just like, oh my god, this is so great.
Yeah.
So on the instructions, because they ordered it online, it said, "Last meal for our family dog. Please prepare with love." So when they picked up the meal, I know when they picked up the meal, the whole staff came out to
Stop.
offer
You have to
condolences.
stop
I
telling
know,
me. Like I can't hear it.
I know. The receipt apologized for the loss of Iris, signed by members of the to go kitchen staff, and the to go container had the words "made with love" written on it. I
Oh,
know.
I
He
love
ate the
that.
whole meal, and then they put her down later that night,
Yeah.
and they got an email the next day they'd refunded the meal.
Oh, that's the nicest thing in the whole world.
I
Look
know.
at me. You have
Now we're
reduced
crying,
me
and
to
I'm
tears. I
crying. I
hate
know.
this. This is the worst happy
This is the
ending
worst
ever.
happy. Sue, I want you to know you're not supposed to cry during a happy ending. I'm
Oh,
just saying.
that was terrible. That was a
I'm so
terrible
sorry.
happy
I'm
ending.
so sorry. I did not know that I was gonna make both of us cry. Oh my god. Holy
Ah.
shit. I'm so
I
sorry
love
to
that
everyone.
story though,
Woo!
because
Yes.
I've done that for every animal that's like departed
Yeah.
this world. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, let's make their last day as good as possible.
Yes.
And we are lucky enough to live in a small town
Yeah.
sort of area, even
Yes.
though we're in a big
Yes.
metropolitan city.
Yeah.
But I have a vet that like still comes to your house to
And does it? Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And like that's always very much appreciated
Yeah.
that I can have like a day with my animal
Yeah.
doing like what they want to do. And so
Yeah.
and it's funny
So
because
shout out Texas Roadhouse.
I've been watching Last Meals on do you watch like
Uh-uh.
so there's a podcast called Last Meals and like Tom Hanks has been on it and like
Oh,
today I was
funny.
watching who was the lady that was like victorious? What's her name?
Oh,
Not Ariana Grande, but the other one. Anyway, her.
yes.
He was on
Yes.
today talking about her last meal. And so like it makes you want to know like what is your last
Yeah.
meal? And like
Yeah.
I love the fact that like the Great Dane's like a big fucking steak and mashed potatoes with butter. Faux show.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I love it. So shout out to Texas Roadhouse for
Oh.
being such a great restaurant. Yes.
Yes. All
And
right.
for Iris going into that good night with butter in her veins. God love
I
her.
love that. I love that. Okay. Well, that
Yeah.
that's definitely a sweet story and I
Yes.
in all fairness, I might cry during a happy ending. So
I
this
mean,
is
maybe.
totally
Yeah.
appropriate.
Yeah.
Totally appropriate. All right. Well, to those of you who stuck around, I hope you enjoyed our podcast today. If you guys have any comments, feel free to leave them. I'll be honest, with us being on vacation this last week, I have not been watching our comments or our
We don't
likes or
have
our
any.
dislikes.
I
So you guys,
checked.
if you
Yeah.
put anything in the
Yeah.
comments, I haven't responded to them. I don't think Nicole has either, to be
Yeah. And
honest.
I haven't seen any, even
So
comments. So
apologies if you
yeah.
have.
Yeah.
But with that said, you guys know we have a Facebook page, Find Out Nation. So if you guys have specific topics you want us to talk about, please feel free to post things there. Of course, you can catch us on either YouTube for the video or you can catch us everywhere that podcasts are offered. I appreciate all of you for listening.
Yes.
We love you.
Yes.
Good
Hang
night.
in there. Good night.
Yes. Bye.